Is your Google business profile under attack? Fake listings, duplicate contents, hijacking even your own business is possible. And imagine what they could do with the information, and it would really lose customer trust. But don't panic, I've got a step-by-step process that's going to make sure you can check exactly what's going on and how you can avoid those duplicate profiles. But here's the thing, Google itself might be part of the problem. So while working with thousands of businesses, I've noticed that Google sometimes, where they're trying to crack down on spam and they're trying to stop fraudulent profiles being invented, they've actually made a problem for themselves. By doing so, they've made it easy to be flagged, hijacked, or even suspended. And it's not just spammy accounts that are getting caught, but it's actually innocent profiles like yours that could be in the crossfire. And what's worse is sometimes business owners don't even know about it, and when they do find out, it's too late. So in this video, I'm going to break down for you what can happen to your profile, my step-by-step solution to safeguard your listings, how to monitor competitors as to what they're up to, and 3 essential tips that are going to protect your online reputation. So let's get going and dive straight in. So what can happen? Well, one of my clients a few years ago discovered suddenly that it had a duplicate profile. And when we delved into it more and more, it became evident that he'd used an old Gmail account, an old Google account to set it up, and he'd not even known anything about it. Well, it ended up that eventually we managed to sort it out. It took many, many days, far longer than expected, and we managed to rescue his old profile. But then when we asked Google to get rid of the duplicated profile, they got rid of the wrong one. Now that meant he lost his original reviews, he lost his original photos and videos. Fortunately, he hadn't spent a lot of time on his profile, and we soon managed to get his new profile up and running. Now that's unlike a situation I came across recently, which I'll come on to a bit later in the video, where it really was the end of the world as far as their profile was concerned. And you know, even yesterday, one of my clients told me that their business had been suspended, and when we looked into it, there was no way of verifying it. Well, we did manage to find a workaround. I'll cover that in a future video. But the worst one I heard was involving a law firm. This law firm unknowingly had added profiles again and again, didn't know they were doing it. There was various staff doing it as well. And in the end, they had up to 9 profiles for their business. Now, that led to all sorts of suspensions, you can imagine. And eventually it took a massive plummet in its rankings. But they did manage to get it sorted in the end. So that's the types of things that could happen. So how can you safeguard your listings? Well, this is where we've got the step-by-step solution. So this is what you need to do. First of all, always log into your Google business profile at least every week. And to do so, you just go to google.com/business, log in with the Gmail account or the Google account you used, and then just check everything's in good order. Also, if you've got other Gmail accounts or Google accounts, log in with them as well, and just make sure there's nothing suspicious going on there. And then just verify your business, just make sure it remains and is kept up to date if you can. The next thing to do is to just check your Google business by searching to see what comes up. So search your company name plus your city and just see if any duplicate or fake profiles come up. What you're hoping is only your profile is shown when you do that type of search. If multiple profiles come up, you need to identify the correct one and make sure it is yours, and make sure no one else has got ownership on it. The next thing to do is if you do discover anything that's unusual, report it, flag it, make sure Google is aware of it. And you need to check now, have you got access to it? It could just be you're making a mistake. If you've got access to it, then navigate to the business profile settings and then delete the duplicate. If you haven't got access to it, then you'll need to click on the 3 dots where then it says unauthorized profile, and then you can select suggest and edit, and then you can mark it as duplicate or incorrect listing. Either way, you want to get this right. Now there is a trick you can do as well that's going to help, because if you get others to report it too, so we've always noticed that if you get at least 3 accounts, different Gmail accounts, to say that this business is a multiple business or it's a duplicate business, Google normally takes action if it's flagged at least 3 times. And ultimately, you are responsible for protecting your online asset. Google Business Profile is worth a mint if you get it ranking well. So don't allow it to just be neglected. Make sure you keep checking it and you'll see the benefits of that. It really is an investment worth investing into. But we also need to make sure that we monitor what competitors are also up to. Now in the UK, we have what's known as the Neighbourhood Watch scheme. And Neighbourhood Watch is basically volunteers or a community get together locally and they make sure there's crime prevention. So everyone keeps an eye on each other really, making sure that we know what's going on. Now that should almost be an identical approach when it comes to your business profile. Just as vigilant neighbours notice when someone unlawfully extends their fence or they do something wrong, they break a law, and everyone becomes alert to it, then you should also be alert to when competitors do things that either they duplicate profiles to get more traction, maybe they do something that breaks the guidelines. Well, you have a responsibility to report that too. Because if you don't, then it'll unfairly impact your rankings as well as other honest neighbours around you. By proactively monitoring your competitor's profile, you can identify if there's any discrepancies that exist and you can take action to protect your business and protect your online trust that you're building for your business. So here's some things you might not know. Did you know that Google sometimes automatically adds profiles? And that's why some get duplicated, not because of anything you've done or not even a competitor. Google themselves make mistakes. In fact, there was a recent situation I was reading about here where a blinds and tiles business discovered that they had a duplicate profile. And then when they discovered it, they realized that actually Google had auto-generated it. It's ridiculous to think that Google was making their own problems. Now, when it was flagged and raised with Google, they said they'd remove it. But what did they remove? They removed the wrong one. They removed the one that had all of the reviews, all the photos, all the optimization. That one was taken away. And what was left? The duplicated one, the auto-generated one that Google had just recently added. So it can ruin a business. It meant that they had to start all over again. So watch out, even Google can be a cause of these problems. Now there is something else you can do, is that Google does allow you, if you've got duplicate profiles and you flagged it and it's a genuine reason behind it, Google can merge them sometimes. And if they'd done that in the case in the previous two I've mentioned, it would have solved a lot of the problems. But you have to have it at the exact same address, pretty much has to be identical in every area for Google to be able to make that merge. And you have to do it with them, and it can be tricky, but that is a possibility. And the third thing you may not know is that Google says it will take 24 to 48 hours to sort out duplicated profiles. Realistically, that's not true at all. And does it get sorted? Quite often it leads from one problem to the next. You'll probably find that once it does get sorted, there'll be another issue after that. So sometimes you just have to keep going and not expect it all to be done within a few days. In fact, I dealt with a business that was far more than 24, 48 hours. It was day after day after day. If you haven't seen that video I mentioned earlier, it's here. This is how I fixed a duplicated and suspended business. And it was quite a trauma. So have a watch of this video next.